"I came to have sex with you," the Apache girl said to the lone cowboy, her voice trembling in the dust-heavy air. The cowboy froze on the cabin's porch as thunder rolled over the mountains, unsure if she came seeking refuge, revenge, or something far more dangerous. In her eyes, dark, steady, unbroken, there was a secret she carried like a burning coal, a secret that didn't match her bold words or the fear hiding beneath them. And when a shadow stepped out from the tree line, watching them both with a quiet hunger, one question cut through the storm. Why did she really come? The wind moved like a living thing across the valley, sweeping dust against the lonely cowboy's cabin as the last of the daylight bled into red and gold. He had been repairing the fence, nothing more than a quiet evening chore, when he heard the soft scrape of footsteps behind him, not hurried, not afraid, just steady, measured, purposeful. He turned slowly, hand hovering near the worn handle of his revolver, expecting a drifter, a ranch thief, maybe a lawman, but instead he saw her, an Apache woman standing barefoot at the edge of the clearing, clothes torn from travel, hair tangled with dust and wind. She looked exhausted, but not broken, not even close. Without stepping closer, she lifted her chin and spoke the words that hit him harder than any bullet. "I came to have sex with you." The sentence didn't fit the moment. It didn't fit her eyes. It didn't fit the tremor running through her hands. The cowboy didn't answer. He couldn't. Something in her posture told him the words weren't a desire. They were a shield, a lie meant to hide the truth from whoever, or whatever, she was running from. A gust of wind carried the smell of burnt sage, storm brewing. Somewhere far off, a lone church bell rang, one single note that didn't belong in the wilderness. He took a step toward her. "You hurt?" he asked quietly. She shook her head, but her breath stuttered. Her fingers tightened around a small cloth bundle pressed to her chest. She held it the way a person holds the last thing they have left. Thunder cracked. She flinched. Behind her, the brush shivered. Just one movement, short, sharp, someone following, something hunting. The cowboy shifted his stance, ready for anything. The Apache woman's voice lowered to a whisper, meant only for him. "Please, don't make me go back." There it was, the truth beneath the bold words, trembling in the spaces between her breaths. As another gust of wind swept across the valley, carrying dust and a warning, he finally realized one thing. This wasn't a seduction. This was a plea for survival, and whatever she was running from that had just found them. The lone cowboy didn't speak at first. He only stepped aside, pulling the cabin door open as the wind pushed harder against the valley, scattering grit along the porch floorboards. The Apache woman hesitated, her bare feet sinking slightly into the dust, as if stepping inside meant crossing a line she wasn't sure she could return from. "Come in," he said quietly. She didn't move. A second gust hit them, louder, dragging loose boards against the fence. Somewhere beyond the ridge, thunder grumbled again. The cowboy noticed the way her shoulders flinched, barely, but enough to betray the control she fought to keep. "You cold?" he asked. "No," she replied. Her voice trembled. "Hungry?" "No." He stepped forward, hands low, non-threatening. "You can rest here. Nothing else." She swallowed hard. "I said why I came," she whispered. "I heard you," the cowboy answered, "but that ain't the truth." Her eyes flashed, fear, anger, shame, something tangled too tightly to separate. She clutched the small cloth bundle to her chest, knuckles white, holding it like a shield between them. He nodded toward it. "That's what matters, not what you said." She tightened her grip. "It's nothing." "Doesn't look like nothing." The wind rattled the cabin shutters again. The cowboy glanced toward the dark line of trees, uneasy. The noise they'd heard earlier hadn't returned, but silence in the wilderness often meant danger had simply learned patience. "Inside," he murmured, "just for tonight, no questions." She stepped forward at last, slipping past him with a grace that came from a life lived in vigilance. Her breathing softened the moment she crossed the threshold, as if the roof above her offered a kind of safety she couldn't name yet. The cowboy closed the door behind her. Inside, The light from the oil lamp flickered across the room, revealing the truth he hadn't noticed outside. The bruising along her collarbone, the red marks around her wrists, the way she kept her back near the wall, always leaving herself a path to escape. He didn't ask about it. He simply set a tin cup on the table. Water. I don't need it. Take it anyway. She looked at him for several long seconds, then reached for the cup with one careful hand. Her fingers shook, barely noticeable, except as someone who'd spent enough time around frightened animals to recognize the tremor of a body bracing for harm. She drank. A crack echoed outside, sharp, sudden, too clean to be the wind. The woman froze. The cup slipped in her hand, sloshing water across the table. The cowboy's voice steadied. "Stay here." He reached for his rifle propped near the door. "No," she whispered. "You can't go out there. Someone followed you." Silence. Her jaw clenched. Then she gave a tiny nod. "How many?" he asked. "One," she said. Then, softer. "For now." He didn't like the way she said it. Didn't like the way her eyes darted toward the window. Didn't like the way her fingers kept brushing the cloth bundle, protective, desperate. He opened the door slowly, stepping onto the porch. The storm winds carried the smell of rain, but beneath it something else lingered. Horse sweat, tobacco, and the faint metallic scent of old blood. The cowboy scanned the tree line. Nothing moved, nothing breathed, but something was out there, watching. Behind him, the woman stood just inside the doorway, shadowed, tense. "Tell me what he wants," the cowboy said. Her answer was barely a whisper. "He wants me." "For what reason?" Her throat moved as she swallowed. "To make me pay for leaving." The cowboy studied her face, the bruises, the way she couldn't hold his gaze for more than a heartbeat. The truth hung in the air like smoke. Whatever she had escaped wasn't done with her, not by a long shot. He lowered the rifle slightly. "You're safe here tonight." "No one is safe from him." "That's so," she nodded. "But you don't know him," she added. "And he doesn't stop." The cowboy stepped back inside, shutting the door with a quiet firmness. "You can sleep. I'll keep watch." "I won't sleep," she whispered. "You don't have to." For the first time since she arrived, her chin trembled. "You shouldn't help me." "Too late," he said. The wind struck the shutters again, violent this time, sudden enough to make the oil lamp flicker. The cloth bundle in her hands shifted, something inside knocking softly against the fabric. The cowboy frowned. "What's in there?" She held it closer, pressing it to her chest. "You won't want to know," she said. Another crack outside, closer, heavier. The cowboy lifted his rifle again. "Tell me what's coming," he murmured. The Apache woman looked toward the window, eyes wide, breath thin. Her answer came out in a single shaken whisper. "Not what... who..." The cowboy didn't move at first. He listened. The wind rolled down from the ridge, thick with dust and the smell of rain. But under it, something else, a rhythm, slow, steady, heavy, hoofbeats. The Apache woman pressed her back to the wall. "He found me," she whispered. The cowboy kept his voice level. "One rider. Yes. He dangerous." Her breath caught. "More than you think." He stepped closer to the window, keeping low. The storm clouds smeared the fading light, turning the whole valley the color of gunmetal. A lone horse stood on the ridge, barely a silhouette. The rider didn't move, didn't call out, didn't raise a weapon. He just watched. "Why wait?" the cowboy murmured. "He wants me scared," she said softly. "He enjoys that." The cowboy frowned. "You ran from him." "Yes." "He hurt you." Her answer came thin as paper. "He owned me." The cowboy's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice calm. "No one owns you now." "You don't understand," she whispered. "He thinks he still does." The rider shifted in the saddle. The horse tossed its head, shaking off the drizzle. Still no words, still no movement downhill. The cowboy lifted his rifle. "He crosses that fence, I warn him." "No," she said quickly. "That won't stop him." "What will?" She looked at the cloth bundle. "He wants this." "What is it?" She hesitated long enough to make him uneasy. "Proof," she whispered. "Proof of what?" "That he lied." Her hands trembled. that everything he told those men was false. The cowboy stepped away from the window. "What men?" She shook her head. "You don't want to be part of this." "Already am." Her breath broke. "He'll kill you for helping me." The cowboy lowered his voice. "Let him try." A sharp crack echoed outside, not thunder, metal hitting wood. The fence post splintered. The rider was no longer on the ridge. He was closer. Too close. The cowboy moved to the door. "Stay back." "I told you," she whispered. "He won't leave. You let me worry about that. He doesn't fear guns." "Everyone fears something." Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. "Not him. He fears shame." Another crack. Wood groaned at the edge of the cabin. The cowboy flinched. "What's he doing?" he muttered. "Testing you," she said. "He wants to see if you'll hide me." The cowboy tightened his grip on the rifle. "Doesn't need to wonder." She stepped forward suddenly, grabbing his sleeve. "Please, don't confront him." "You want me to let him take you?" "No," she said. "I want you alive." The cowboy hesitated. Just a breath, but she saw it. She backed away, hugging the bundle again. The lamp flickered. The air inside the cabin felt tight and hot and too quiet. Another knock outside, slow, deliberate, not on the door, on the wall. The cowboy's eyes narrowed. "He's walking the perimeter." "He's hunting," she whispered. Then silence. A long one, the kind that crawls under the skin. The cowboy tried the window again. Nothing, no shadow, no movement, only wind sweeping the dry earth. "Where'd he go?" he muttered. She shook her head. "He never leaves." "You see him?" the cowboy asked. "Not see." She touched her chest. "Feel." A soft thump sounded on the roof. The cowboy stiffened. "Roof's slick," he whispered. "No horse tracks up there." "He climbed," she said. "You sure?" She nodded once. "He moves like a cat." A sudden scuffle of boots above them sent dust raining down from the rafters. The cowboy raised his rifle toward the ceiling, breath steady, eyes sharp. The Apache woman backed into the corner, clutching the bundle like it was life itself. The cowboy whispered, "You tell me now. What's inside that cloth?" Her eyes glistened. His lies. "What lies?" She swallowed. "He told the soldiers I betrayed them." "And you didn't?" "No," she said. "He betrayed me." The cowboy stared at her. "That bundle prove it." "Yes. And he wants it back. He wants to burn it." Another sound came, this time from behind the house. Heavy footsteps sliding down the rear wall. Then a low, chilling scrape. Metal on wood. The cowboy's voice tightened. "He's cutting something." "No," she whispered. "He's carving something." "What?" "A warning." The cabin fell silent again. No footsteps, no scrape, just wind. Then, slowly, something slid under the door. A piece of wood, crude, freshly cut, freshly carved. The cowboy knelt, picked it up, turned it in the dim lamplight. A single burnt word scarred the surface. Not a name, a promise, a claim. "Mine!" The woman's knees buckled. Outside, a man's voice finally broke the silence. A low whisper, a whisper meant only for her. "Come out, or he dies." The cowboy froze with the carved plank still in his hand. The word "mine" stared back at him. Each letter burned deep and uneven, as if the man outside had carved it with more rage than skill. Wind pushed against the cabin again, rattling the shutters like weak bones under a heavier fist. The Apache woman stepped toward him. "He means it," she whispered. The cowboy didn't look away from the door. "You think I scare easy?" "He'll kill you," she said. "He always kills the first man who helps me." "That so?" "Yes." "Well," the cowboy muttered, "I ain't dead yet." Her breath trembled. "He'll wait for weakness. He'll wait a long time." A low thud hit the back wall again, not sharp this time. Heavier, a dragging sound like something being pulled across the boards. The cowboy raised his rifle. He moving toward the window. "No," she said softly. "That's his rope." "What rope?" "The one he uses to take people alive." The cowboy stiffened. "You sure?" "I lived with him," she murmured. "I know his tools." She stepped closer, voice small. Please don't open the door." "I won't," he said, "but I might open the fight." A sudden laugh spilled through the cracks in the wall. Not loud, not wild. Worse, it was quiet, confident, the sound of a man who believed every outcome belonged to him. The Apache woman pressed a hand over her mouth. "He wants you scared," the cowboy whispered. "I already am." "You shouldn't be. You don't know him." "Then tell me." She shook her head. "If I speak his story, he wins." "That's nonsense. It's Apache truth." The cowboy lowered the rifle slightly. "You come here for safety." "I came here for choice," she said. "Then you got one," he replied. "You ain't going back out there." A gust hit the side wall so hard the lamp flickered. Then a scrape along the window, slow, deliberate, waiting to be heard. The cowboy spun, rifle raised. The woman whispered, "He's circling, looking for weak spots." "No," she said, "looking for you." The cowboy stepped quietly across the floor, keeping his weight low. The window shook again. A shadow passed by, long, broad-shouldered, moving with a predatory patience. He whispered, "He walks heavy." "He walks as he wants," she said. "No man stops him." "Maybe not before," the cowboy said, "but tonight he met one." Her throat tightened. "You're brave, but he eats brave men. He's welcome to try." The scrape stopped. Silence. Then a new sound. A soft clink. Metal on glass. The cowboy's eyes narrowed. "That's a belt buckle." "No," she whispered. "That's a badge." He froze. "Badge," he repeated. She nodded once. "The soldiers gave him authority. Papers, power." The cowboy's grip tightened. "So he's legal trouble." "The worst kind," she said. "Legal with no law in his heart." The cowboy's jaw clenched. "That explains the rope." "And the papers," she added. "What papers?" The bundle trembled in her hands. "These." The cowboy finally asked, "What's inside?" She swallowed hard. "Proof he lied about me. Proof he lied about others. He framed you. And 4 more," she whispered. "He said we betrayed the soldiers. He made us criminals. And you didn't." "I swear on the mountains," she whispered. "We were innocent." "So what's the truth?" She lifted the bundle. "He betrayed them, not us." "And why?" "For money," she breathed. "For land, for promise of reward." The cabin creaked under the weight of the wind. The cowboy understood then. This wasn't just a man chasing a woman. This was a man protecting a secret that could hang him. "You carry his noose," the cowboy murmured. "Yes. And he'll stop at nothing for it." "Yes," the cowboy nodded. "Then we don't give it back." Another knock hit the door, slow, heavy. A statement. The cowboy stepped between her and the entrance. A voice came through the wood, deep, low, gravel, dragged through smoke. "Send her out." The woman shook. The cowboy didn't answer. The voice came again, colder. "She comes. She lives. You stay quiet. You live." The cowboy's jaw flexed. "You threatening me?" "Not a threat," the voice said. "Law." The woman let out a broken whisper. "He lies. He always lies." The cowboy lifted his rifle. "You ain't taking her." Silence. Then a laugh so slow it made the floorboards tremble. "She ain't yours to keep." The cowboy raised his voice. "She ain't yours either." A pause, a breath, a shift. Then the voice returned, quiet, deadly. "The law says she is." The Apache woman grabbed the cowboy's arm. "He has forged papers," she whispered. "He'll show them." The cowboy whispered back, "Papers don't scare me." "They scare everyone," she said. "This territory bows to signatures." Another knock, this time harder. "If you don't open," the voice said, "I burn the cabin." The woman gasped. "I will." "I know," the cowboy whispered. He stepped toward the door. She clutched his sleeve. "No, you can't go out. Someone's got to talk first." "He won't talk," she whispered. "He'll shoot." The cowboy chambered around. "So will I." Outside, boots crushed gravel. The man stepped back to give himself space. The cowboy took one breath. Then the woman whispered words that froze him cold. He didn't come alone. The words hung between them like smoke. He didn't come alone. Almost on cue, the cowboy heard it, the distant shuffle of more hooves, faint at first, then clearer as they rounded the far side of the hill. The rain finally broke in thin, cold lines across the valley, streaking the windows with silver. The Apache woman stepped away from the door, clutching the bundle tighter. "They never move in twos," she whispered. "They come as a pack." "How many?" the cowboy asked quietly. "3 at least," she said. "Maybe 4, maybe more." "Armed?" She gave him a look that answered before she spoke. "They breathe guns." He moved to the back window, peering through a narrow crack. Through the rain and dim light, lanterns swung from saddles. 3, no, 4 small circles of fire weaving toward the cabin. The riders rode in a loose line, 1 in front, 2 flanking, 1 slightly behind, more careful, more cautious. "Lawmen," he murmured. "They wear badges," she said. "But they ain't law." "Soldiers?" he asked. "Just men with paper," she replied. "Paper that burns lives." The cowboy turned from the window. "You hide behind the bed," she shook her head. "He'll smell fear." "Then hide your proof," he said. "The bundle goes first." Her fingers stiffened around the cloth. "If he finds it, I'm dead." "If he doesn't," the cowboy answered, "you still might be." She swallowed. "Where?" He glanced around the one-room cabin, table. Broken chair, narrow bed. Hearth cold but swept. Not many places. He pointed to the floorboards near the stove. "There's a loose plank." "You hide things there?" she asked. "Sometimes," he said. "Never something this loud, though." She frowned. "It doesn't make noise." "Yes, it does," he murmured. "It screams truth." He moved quickly, dropping to his knees, prying up the plank with a short iron bar. The wood lifted with a dry groan, revealing a narrow hollow filled with dust and 1 forgotten tin of cartridges. "Give it," he said. She hesitated. "You trust me?" he asked. Her eyes were wet but steady. "I trust that he fears you less than me." "That answer ain't enough," he said, "but we don't have time." He reached out. After 1 shallow breath, she placed the bundle in his hands. It was heavier than he expected, like the weight of many choices pressed together. He lowered it into the hollow and replaced the cartridges over it, just enough to look ordinary. Then the plank thunked back into place. "If he burns the cabin," she whispered, "the papers burn too." "If he burns us," the cowboy said, "they don't matter." Outside, hooves stopped. Leather creaked. A lantern clinked against a stirrup. Low voices traded words he couldn't quite catch. "Get down," he said. She moved toward the corner by the bed, keeping low, back against the logs, eyes locked on the door. She would not crawl. She would not beg. But she stayed out of the center of the room. A fist hit the door. Not hard, not gentle, firm. "Cabin," a new voice called. "This is territorial business." The cowboy kept his rifle angled low, barrel pointed at the floor. "What business?" "Official inquiry," the voice replied. "We've got papers to serve." He shot the woman a look. She whispered, "Forged." The cowboy raised his voice. "Who's we?" A pause. Then, "Deputy, 2 riders, and a federal man." The Apache woman closed her eyes for a second. "He brought a federal," she whispered. "He's getting desperate." "Show me your badge," the cowboy called. A metal click, a dull clink. Something flashed under the door crack, light catching shaped brass. "You see it?" the voice asked. The cowboy did. Didn't mean he respected it. "So what?" he said. "Badges lie too." "We're tracking an Apache woman," the voice answered. "Dangerous. Wanted for treason." The woman flinched. "Treason?" the cowboy repeated. "She betrayed soldiers," the voice said. "Got them killed. Ran with stolen documents." The cowboy glanced at the plank. "Documents?" he said. "Yes," the voice replied. "Classified orders." "Sensitive intelligence," the Apache woman whispered. "Those orders killed her people. You harbor her," the voice continued. "You share her guilt." The cowboy let the words settle. Guilt. Harbor. Treason. Heavy terms used by men who liked them heavy. "Got proof?" he asked. "Signed statements," the voice said. "Sworn testimony. Sealed reports." "All written by who?" the cowboy asked. Silence. Then the first voice again, colder. By men this territory trusts. The Apache woman shivered. They trust money, not men. The cowboy turned slightly toward her. You want to speak? She shook her head hard. He'll twist every word. Outside, one of the other riders muttered something. A lower timbre answered. Then the original voice returned. Last time, cabin. Hand her over. We ride away. She ain't here, the cowboy said. That's so, the voice replied. Just me and old Wood, the cowboy answered. Another pause. Rain pattered harder now, beating against the roof. The lantern's glow shifted in the window, casting bent shadows across the floor. Then you won't mind if we look, the voice said. I mind, the cowboy replied. Got something to hide? The voice asked. Got something to protect, he said. We're the law, came the answer. You refuse. You obstruct. The Apache woman whispered, If they get inside, they'll find me. Maybe, the cowboy whispered back. Maybe not. She stared at him. You can't fight for. Never tried, he said quietly. Reckon tonight's a good start. The knock on the door came again, much harder now. This is your last chance, the voice called. Open up or we force it. The cowboy inhaled slow. You force my door, he said. You admit you got no warrant. Another pause. They hadn't expected him to know words like that. Warrants with the federal, the voice said at last. Then he speaks, the cowboy replied. I'll hear him first. Silence outside. A brief shifting, a murmur of argument. One man cursed low, another shushed him. Then a different voice approached, less rough, more careful, practiced from speaking indoors. Sir, and it called, step outside and I'll show you the documents. The Apache woman tensed. He's worse, she breathed. He smiles while he hangs you. The cowboy considered. If he stayed in, they might rush the door. If he stepped out, he offered them his chest. Either way, danger. But one choice let him see their faces. He looked back at her. You trust me? He asked. You're all I've got, she whispered. He nodded once, moved to the door and rested his hand on the latch. Bar the furniture, he said softly. If things go wrong. What about you? She asked. He gave a thin, humorless half-smile. I'll try not to die fast. She grabbed his wrist. If you fall, he'll take his time with me. He met her eyes, a steady, then I don't fall. He gently pulled free and cracked the door, just enough to let in the cold rain and the spill of lantern light. 4 shapes stood in the yard. 3 wore broad hats pulled low. 1 wore a coat too fine for this dust. The fine one lifted a folded packet of papers. Let's be civilized, the man said. And as the cowboy stepped onto the porch, boots creaking on wet boards, he saw something that froze his breath. The 4th rider wasn't looking at him at all. He was staring straight at the cabin window, gun already raised. The cowboy didn't hesitate. The instant he saw the 4th rider's gun rising toward the cabin window, he stepped off the porch and shouted, Gun down! But the rider didn't lower it. Inside, the Apache woman crouched away from the glass, clutching the floorboard edge with one trembling hand. The fine coat man lifted his free palm. No need for excitement, the cowboy's voice hardened. He aimed first. It's protocol, the man answered. We secure the area. He's pointing at my window. That's where fugitives hide. She ain't a fugitive, the cowboy said. The man held out the paper packet. These documents say otherwise. The cowboy didn't take them. Documents lie. The fine coat man smiled, thin and sharp, only when read poorly. Behind him, the 4th rider kept his aim steady. Tell him drop it, the cowboy said. He follows orders, the man replied. And my orders are firm. Lower the gun, the cowboy repeated. No, the man said. Not until we search. The cowboy shifted his weight. You ain't searching without reason. We have reason, the man said, and we have rights. Show the warrant, the cowboy said. The fine coat man flicked open the packet with a practiced motion. A folded paper glinted under lantern light. The Apache woman whispered through the cabin wall. Don't trust that paper. I never did, the cowboy muttered back. The man unfolded the sheet. Signed by territorial command, he said. Countersigned by federal authority. The cowboy glanced at the ink. Dark, fresh, crisp. Too clean, he murmured. We received it yesterday, the man said. In town? the cowboy asked. Yes. Funny, the cowboy said. No riders passed South Trail yesterday. The man's smile twitched. Hayo track traffic. Storm left soft mud, the cowboy answered. No prints. The fine coat man lowered the paper just slightly. His eyes sharpened. The fourth rider shifted his boots in the mud. Metal chimed against leather. One of the flank riders muttered, He's stalling. The fine coat man answered without looking back. He has no moves. Inside the cabin, the Apache woman slid closer to the floorboard, hiding the bundle. She whispered to herself, Don't find it. Please don't find it. The cowboy lifted his rifle but kept it pointed at the ground. You speak of law, he said, so follow it. We are, the fine coat man said. You're 4 men with guns, the cowboy replied. That ain't law. The fine coat man stepped forward, boots sinking into the wet earth. Listen carefully, he said. She's accused of treason. She carries stolen military intelligence. She killed 2 soldiers. She didn't kill them, the cowboy said. You weren't there, the man replied. I can feel a lie, the cowboy answered, and yours breathes loud. The fine coat man's smile vanished. This is your last warning. To do what? The cowboy asked. To give her up. No. Then we come inside. No. The fourth rider tightened his grip on his revolver. Just shoot him, he muttered. The fine coat man snapped, Not yet. Rain thickened, drumming the porch roof in a dull, relentless rhythm. The lanterns wavered in the wet wind, shadows bending like restless spirits. The Apache woman pressed her fingers between 2 floorboards and whispered, Mountain spirits, keep him safe. The cowboy straightened. Show me the second page, he said. The fine coat man blinked. There is no second page. A warrant always has 2, the cowboy answered. 1 for the claim, 1 for the proof. The man froze a moment too long. That paper forged, the cowboy said. Badly, the flank rider cursed. He knows. Shut up, the fine coat man snapped. The cowboy lifted his rifle a little higher. You bring fake law to my land. It isn't your land, the man hissed. Tonight it is. The fourth rider cocked his revolver. Inside, the Apache woman gasped. He'll fire! The cowboy barked. Drop the gun! Make me! The rider spat. The cowboy's rifle snapped up in a blur, and the fine coat man shouted, Hold your... A thunderous crack split the night, but not from the cowboy's rifle. The shot came from somewhere behind the riders. All 4 men jerked around. A horse screamed. Lantern light swung wildly. One of the flank riders fell sideways, clutching his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. The cowboy's eyes widened. He hadn't fired. The Apache woman hadn't fired. Someone else had. The fine coat man shouted, Where? Where did it come from? Another shot exploded from the dark pines, closer now. The second flank rider dove for cover. The fourth rider shouted, We're under attack. The fine coat man snarled, No one attacks Federal. A third shot ripped through the rain, slamming into the porch post inches from the cowboy's boots. Wood splintered. The Apache woman screamed. They brought another. No, the cowboy said. That ain't theirs. Then who? She whispered. The cowboy's voice dropped. Someone else followed you. A figure emerged in the tree line, just a silhouette, soaked in rain, holding a long rifle with expert ease. Not one of the riders. Not the man who carved mine. Someone new. Someone worse. The fine coat man shouted toward the trees, Identify yourself. Silence. Then the silhouette stepped forward. A low, cold voice rolled across the muddy yard. She belongs to me too. Rain hammered the valley now, turning dust to thin streams that snaked between the horses' legs. The lanterns hissed as water hit their flames. The cowboy froze on the porch, eyes fixed on the silhouette standing in the tree line. The fine coat man shouted again, State your authority! No answer. The silhouette lowered the long rifle with a slow, deliberate grace, not hostile, not peaceful. Something worse. Someone who didn't need permission to act. The cowboy whispered to the Apache woman through the crack in the door, Stay low. I am, she breathed. That voice, I know it. The cowboy's jaw tensed. Friend? No, she whispered. He's another kind of danger. The fine coat man stepped forward, boots sinking in mud. You fire at Federal men, you hang. Still no response. The fourth rider snarled, raising his revolver. "I'll drop him myself." "Don't," the fine coat man snapped. "Not until we know." The silhouette finally spoke, voice steady as stone. "You boys chasing the wrong prize." The cowboy narrowed his eyes. "What prize?" The silhouette tilted his head slightly. "The woman." The Apache woman's breath shook. "He came too," she whispered. "I feared this." The cowboy murmured, "Who is he?" "A hunter," she whispered. "Paid for silence. Paid for secrets. Paid to bring you back?" "No," she said. "Paid to bury the truth." The fine coat man shouted toward the trees. "She's accused of treason." "No," the silhouette said. "She's accused of remembering." The cowboy stepped down one plank, rifle angled. "You two work together?" "No," the silhouette replied. "I work alone." "And you want her?" the cowboy asked. "Yes." "For what reason?" The silhouette lifted the rifle again, pointing toward the cabin, not at the cowboy, but at the window where the woman hid. "To finish what was started." The cowboy slid a boot sideways, blocking the line of fire. "She's under my protection." "Protection," the silhouette repeated. "Big word for one man." "One man's enough," the cowboy said. The fine coat man shoved forward. "This is federal pursuit. She's ours." "No," the silhouette said. "She's mine." "You got papers?" the cowboy asked. "Don't need paper to end a lie," the silhouette replied. The fine coat man scoffed. "You're interfering with law." "I'm interfering with incompetence," the silhouette said. Then he fired. The shot cracked across the clearing, striking the muddy ground inches from the fine coat man's boot. Mud splashed against his trousers. The fine coat man jumped back. "You madman!" "No," the silhouette said. "Just quicker." The cowboy raised his rifle. "You aiming to kill?" "When needed," the silhouette replied. Inside, the Apache woman pressed both hands to the floorboard, hiding the bundle. She whispered so softly the cowboy barely heard. "He killed the others." The cowboy stiffened. "What others?" "The ones who escaped with me," she whispered. "All four. He hunted them." The cowboy's shoulders tightened. "Why?" "To erase witnesses," she said. "He works for the man outside." Her voice trembled. "Now they fight each other." The cowboy muttered, "Makes them twice as bad." The fine coat man signaled his riders. "Spread out. Surround him." But the silhouette stepped sideways, melting deeper into the trees, moving with a fluid precision that made every rider hesitate. The cowboy called out, "You fire again. Bullets fly both ways." The silhouette's voice drifted back. "Bullets choose truth faster than courts." The fourth rider growled, "This is insane." The silhouette answered, "No, this is justice." The cowboy whispered to the woman, "Tell me what makes him so certain." She swallowed. "He saw the orders." "Stolen orders?" "No," she whispered. "He delivered them." The cowboy stiffened. "He delivered false orders," she nodded. "He carried the fakes that condemned my people." The cowboy's breath tightened. "Why hunt you?" "Because I know his face," she whispered, "and I lived." The cowboy turned back toward the tree line. "That mean you can name him?" "Yes." "That make him desperate?" "Yes," she whispered. Lightning flashed across the valley, white and violent. The silhouette reappeared for a heartbeat, coat whipping in the wind, rifle steady, eyes cold as winter stone. Then the fine coat man shouted, "You're surrounded!" "No," the silhouette said calmly. "You're distracted." The cowboy's blood ran cold. "Distracted by what?" he muttered. The silhouette didn't answer. He only pointed, not at the cowboy, not at the cabin, not at the riders, but behind them, into the dark stretch of brush near the trail. The fine coat man spun around. "What's there?" he demanded. The fourth rider cursed loudly. "I didn't see anyone there." Lightning flashed again. For the first time, the cowboy saw it too. A second silhouette. Smaller, hidden, holding a weapon aimed at the riders' horses. The Apache woman whispered, trembling, "That's not a hunter." "Who?" the cowboy asked. Her voice cracked. "That's the man who carved mine." The second figure shifted, raising something glinting under the lantern light. Not a gun, a torch, flaming, dripping, wild. The cowboy whispered, horrified. He's gonna... The torch swung down. Fire erupted. Horses screamed. Riders jumped back. The fine coat man gasped, "Put it out!" Flames climbed the saddle blanket of the nearest horse, then leapt toward the cabin's porch post as wind carried sparks straight toward the dry timber. The Apache woman screamed, "He means to burn us alive!" The torchbearer stepped forward, face twisted in fury, and shouted the words that froze the cowboy's blood. "If I can't have her, no one will." Flames leapt fast, too fast for rain to stop them. The torchbearer swung the fire toward the porch, embers scattering across the boards like angry sparks from a blacksmith's forge. Inside, the Apache woman ducked low. "He'll burn everything!" the cowboy shouted back. "Stay down!" He charged off the porch as fire crawled up the post. The second silhouette, the jealous torchbearer, backed away just enough to avoid the cowboy's reach, waving the fire with crazed confidence. The fine coat man yelled, "Put the fire out!" But his riders were in chaos. Horses screamed, rearing against fire and gun smoke. Lanterns dropped into mud. Boots slipped in the rain. The cowboy pointed his rifle at the torchbearer. "Drop it! You don't give orders," the man barked. "She's mine." "She ain't property," the cowboy growled. The torchbearer's face twisted. "She was promised." "You lied," the cowboy said. "Promises ain't lies," the man snapped. "Till someone breaks them." The cowboy stepped forward. "She broke nothing. She ran from me," he shouted. "She belongs with me." Inside the cabin, the Apache woman clasped both hands over her mouth, shaking. "He doesn't love. He owns," the cowboy shouted. "She chose freedom. She chose wrong," the torchbearer barked. The fine coat man raised his hand. "Stand down, we handle this." But he didn't step between them. None of his riders did. The cowboy understood why. They feared the fire more than the man holding it. The torchbearer grinned. "See? Even law steps aside." "Put it out," the cowboy warned. "No." He lifted the torch higher. "She walks to me, or this place burns." "You touch that cabin," the cowboy said. "I end you." "You can try," the man sneered. Behind them, the silhouette hunter watched silently from the trees. Rain plastered his coat to his body, but his rifle never wavered. The fine coat man snapped at him. "Help us, fool," the hunter replied coldly. "No, I wait." "For what?" the cowboy called. "For her to run," the hunter said. The Apache woman whispered, horrified. "That's his game. He wants me in the open." The cowboy yelled toward the door. "You stay inside," but she shook her head. "He'll burn the roof." "I'll handle him," the cowboy said. "You can't fight fire," she cried. The torchbearer swung the flames again. They touched the porch roof. Dry pine caught instantly. Fire climbed upward like it had been waiting all night. The cowboy rushed forward. The torchbearer lunged sideways. "You fight me. She burns." "You burn too," the cowboy growled. The fine coat man drew his revolver. "We extinguish this now." But he didn't shoot the torchbearer. He aimed at the cowboy. "You ain't a fugitive," he shouted. "I arrest you," the cowboy snarled. "You arrest fire too." "Stand down," the fine coat man ordered. The cowboy didn't. Fire crackled louder. The porch roof popped as trapped sap boiled inside the boards. Inside, smoke filtered in. The Apache woman dropped to her knees, coughing. She pressed her hands under the floorboard edge, desperate. If the papers burn, all truth dies. Outside, the hunter called out, "Let them burn." "Smoke hides bodies," the fine coat man yelled. "You speak like a murderer." "I speak like a realist," the hunter said. The cowboy shouted, "You're all insane." The torchbearer lifted the flame toward the cabin window. "Stop!" the cowboy roared. "No!" the man hissed. "She comes out now." "I don't!" she cried from inside. "You do!" he snarled. "Or I burn your past!" The cowboy lunged, grabbing the man's wrist. The torch snapped sideways, flames flying. The cowboy twisted hard, forcing the fire downward into the mud. "Let go," the torchbearer shrieked. "You first!" the cowboy barked. They struggled, boots sliding. Rain hissed against flame. The fine coat man shouted, "Shoot them apart!" "No!" the Apache woman screamed. "They'll hit him!" The fourth rider raised his gun. "I'll take the shot!" "Don't!" the cowboy yelled. The fourth rider fired. The bullet tore through the rain. missing the cowboy's arm by a hair, striking the torchbearer's thigh. The man screamed and collapsed, dropping the torch fully into the mud where it hissed violently and died. A tiny victory, a breath of relief. Then the porch roof groaned and sagged, fire still eating the highest beam. The cowboy looked up. "Roof's going." Inside, the Apache woman staggered. Smoke gathered fast near the rafters. She coughed hard. "I can't breathe. Stay low," the cowboy shouted. The fine coat man cursed. "This is lost. Pull back." But the hunter stepped out of the tree line. "No one leaves," he said. The fine coat man snapped. "You don't command here." "I do tonight," the hunter replied. He raised his rifle fires, but not at the cowboy, not at the torchbearer, at the Apache woman's window. The cowboy saw the angle, saw the intent, saw the future in one terrible flicker. He screamed, "Down!" But she wasn't fast enough. The hunter fired. Glass shattered. The woman fell backward as shards rained over her. Smoke fled through the broken pane, carried by rain-soaked wind. Inside the cabin, she gasped. He hit the floorboard. He found the hiding place. The first thing she felt was the splinter. The bullet had slammed into the floorboard, sending a jagged piece of wood into her palm. She hissed through her teeth and jerked her hand back, blood beading along the skin. Smoke curled low along the floor. Her eyes watered. Outside, the cowboy shouted, "You hit my wall, not her." The hunter's calm voice floated back, "I hit what I meant." The Apache woman pressed her sore hand against her dress and reached for the loosened plank. When she pulled, it shifted easier than before, the bullet having cracked the edge. Her fingertips brushed rough cloth. "The bundle," she whispered. No, talk to me," the cowboy yelled. "You all right?" "I'm fine," she coughed. He broke the hiding place. "Can you move it?" he called. "Yes," she said. "Maybe." She hooked her fingers under the plank and pried it up. Smoke thickened, chasing her breath. The porch roof above groaned as fire chewed at old wood. Outside, the fine coat man shouted, "Get that blaze contained!" The fourth rider snapped, "With what?" "Our hands." "Use rain barrels," the man barked, "or use your coats." The hunter didn't help. He stood still, waiting. The woman dragged the bundle out. The cloth was torn by the bullet, the outer layer ripped. She swallowed hard and peeled it back just enough to see ink, seal, edges of folded documents. The top sheet was shredded, but the ones beneath, still whole. "They're alive," she whispered. "What?" the cowboy called. "The papers," she said. "They're not all ruined." "Good," he answered. "Wrap them tight." Her wounded hand shook, smearing blood on the fabric. Outside, the torchbearer groaned in the mud, clutching his bleeding leg. "She's not worth this," he rasped. The fine coat man snapped, "You've done enough damage." The torchbearer spat rainwater. "You all want her." "What I want," the man said, "is order restored." The hunter scoffed. "You want secrets buried." The man glared at him. "And you want them sold." "Everybody sells something," the hunter replied, "especially the truth." Inside the cabin, the woman bundled the torn cloth tighter, then paused. If they searched the floor now, they'd find the hollow empty, nowhere safe. Her eyes darted to the hearth, the stone, the ashes, the soot. She crawled toward it, hacking as smoke stung her throat. The cowboy heard her cough and stepped backward toward the doorway. "Can't breathe in there?" "Smoke's low," she coughed. "I'm close to the ground." "Keep your head down," he said. "I'm coming in." "No," she cried. "They'll shoot you in the back." He hesitated, the hunter's aim, the rider's twitching hands. Then he chose. He spun toward the yard. "Anyone fires at my door, he dies first." The fine coat man raised his revolver a little higher. "That sounds like a threat." "That's a promise," the cowboy said. Rain battered the roof. Sparks flew off the burning beam. One of the riders finally kicked a barrel over, sending a wave of water across the porch. Steam rose, but the highest flames held fast. Inside, the woman reached the hearth. She clawed at cold ash, coughing hard. The bundle darkened as soot smeared across the cloth. She muttered, "Hide in death, hide in dust." "What are you doing?" the cowboy called. "Making them ugly," she said. "Truth doesn't need to shine. She pushed the bundle deep behind a loose stone in the back of the hearth. It wedged tight between rock and char. Her wounded hand burned, but she kept pressing until it vanished from sight. A small, shaky breath left her lips. One step saved. Outside, the hunter tilted his head. "She's moving something." "You can't see inside," the fine coat man snapped. "I read sounds," the hunter answered. "And silence." The cowboy spat rain from his lips. "You read fear, that all." "Fear speaks loud," the hunter said. The fine coat man shook water off his hat. "This ends now. Step aside." The cowboy didn't move. "You stand in the way of justice," the man said. "I stand in front of a woman," the cowboy replied. "She killed soldiers," the man insisted. "She watched them die," the hunter corrected. "You sent them into a trap." The fine coat man's jaw tightened. "Mind your tongue. You signed false orders," the hunter said. "You know you did." "You have no proof," the man snapped. The hunter glanced toward the cabin. "She does." The cowboy saw it. The flicker in the fine coat man's eyes at those words. Not shock, not denial, just calculation. "You scared of one bundle?" the cowboy asked. "I fear chaos," the man replied. "You fear exposure," the hunter said. Rain pounded harder. The porch roof sagged again, then dropped a burning chunk onto the yard. Sparks flew across the mud. The Apache woman flinched as the cabin shook. "How bad is it?" "Roof's hurt," the cowboy answered. "Will it fall?" she asked. "Not yet," he said, "but she's thinking about it." She forced a thin laugh. "Like me." Lightning split the sky. In that flash, the cowboy saw something he hadn't noticed before. Another horse tethered farther back in the trees, smaller. Light saddle, travel worn. He squinted. "Who's the extra horse belong to?" The hunter didn't answer. The fine coat man frowned. "We came with 4. "That makes 5, the cowboy said. The Apache woman's breath hitched. "There was someone else," she whispered. "When I escaped—" "Who?" he asked. "A boy," she said. "Maybe 16. Maybe younger." "Run away?" he asked. "Witness?" she answered quietly. He saw the orders changed. The hunter's gaze snapped toward the second horse. The fine coat man's face went pale. "Where is he now?" the cowboy asked. The hunter's jaw tightened. "Missing." The Apache woman closed her eyes. "He followed us. I felt it." The cowboy shook his head. He could still be alive. The hunter said nothing. The fine coat man barked. "The boy's irrelevant." "No," the woman whispered. "He's proof." The cowboy looked from the extra horse to the burning roof. "If he's alive, he's close." "And if he's close," the hunter said, "he's watching." Rain washed soot from the cabin's logs. Smoke poured from the broken window like a dark flag. Somewhere beyond the immediate circle of light, a small twig snapped. Every head turned. The fine coat man shouted, "Who's there?" No reply. Another crack. This time, a cough. Soft, young, afraid. The Apache woman's eyes filled. "That's him," she whispered. The cowboy's pulse kicked harder. "Boy," he shouted, "step where I can see you." Silence. Then, from the darkness near the extra horse, a shaking voice answered, "If I come out, will someone finally listen to me?" The valley held its breath. The rain slowed just enough for the boy's voice to carry across the clearing, thin, cracked, trembling from cold and fear. The cowboy stepped off the porch one careful pace. "No one shoots," he said. The fine coat man snapped. "Hold your positions," the fourth rider growled. "Kid's lying." The hunter disagreed quietly. "No, he's terrified." Another cough came from the shadows. The cowboy called, "Step out, son, slow." A small figure emerged from behind the extra horse. Barefoot, clothes torn, eyes wide and hollow. A kid who had sprinted too far for too long. The Apache woman gasped from inside the cabin. "He's alive." The boy flinched at her voice. "Don't hurt me." "No one's hurting you," the cowboy said. "Come closer." The fine coat man barked, "Stay where you are." The boy froze mid-step. The hunter raised his head. "You recognize him," he said to the woman. She nodded weakly. "He ran with us." The cowboy asked, "He escaped with you?" "Yes," she replied. He knew the truth. The fine coat man snapped. He's a deserter. He's worthless. The boy's shoulders curled inward. You left them to die, he whispered. Everyone stilled. The cowboy urged gently, "Keep talking." The boy shook his head. "They said we'd be safe, but the orders changed." The fine coat man stepped forward. "Enough! Boy comes with us." "No!" the cowboy countered. "He's government property," the man said. "He ain't property," the cowboy answered. "He's human." The fourth rider lifted his gun. "He's a witness. Kill him." The Apache woman screamed, "No!" The cowboy barked, "Lower that gun." The hunter's voice cut through the rain, cold, deadly. "Shoot the boy, and I shoot you." The fourth rider hesitated. The fine coat man hissed, "We need control. Control this." The boy's knees buckled in the mud. "I didn't want to know. I just carried the papers." "What papers?" the cowboy asked. "The first orders," the boy said. "The real ones." The Apache woman leaned out the broken window, coughing through lingering smoke. "They were clean orders," she said. "No death in them." The boy nodded. "We were safe. Until he pointed at the fine coat man, said new orders came." The cowboy's grip tightened on his rifle. "What new orders?" "Orders that sent soldiers into a trap," the boy whispered. "Orders that blamed the Apache," the fine coat man snarled. "He lies," the boy sobbed. "I saw you change them." The hunter exhaled softly. "There it is." "Shut up," the fine coat man barked. "We all suspected," the hunter replied. "Now he confirms." The fourth rider took a shaky step back. "You forged orders." "For what?" "For pay," the boy whispered. "For land. For gold." The fine coat man snapped. "He's confused." "No," the cowboy said quietly. "He's telling it straight." Rain dripped from the boy's hair. "They killed the wrong people. They hunted the wrong ones." The Apache woman whispered, "And he burned the truth." The boy nodded. "He tried to kill me too." The fine coat man barked at his riders. "Seize the boy." None moved. The cowboy lifted his rifle. "No one touches him." "He's ours by federal law," the man insisted. "Show real papers," the cowboy said. Lightning flashed. Thunder rolled. The fine coat man raised the warrant packet again, but the boy shook violently and cried, "That's the forged one." The cowboy barked, "Drop it." "No," the man shouted. "This keeps order." The hunter started laughing softly. "Order? You created chaos." "I created protection," the man yelled. The boy whispered, "You created graves." Silence. Only wind and rain. The cabin groaned under the dying fire. The cowboy said, "Boy stays with me." "No," the fine coat man growled. "He's a threat." "To you," the hunter replied. The man pointed the packet toward the cowboy. "You hand the woman and the boy over now." The cowboy didn't move. "Not happening." The fine coat man's eyes flickered. He wasn't negotiating. He was cornered. The Apache woman said softly, "He'll kill us all." The cowboy stepped between the boy and the riders. "You try, you'll fail." The fine coat man screamed at his riders, "Take them." But the riders didn't advance. The fourth rider whispered, "This stinks of hanging rope." The hunter lifted his weapon and said, "Choose your future, not his." The boy gripped the cowboy's coat. "Please don't leave me." "I won't," the cowboy said. "Stand behind me." The fine coat man saw his power cracking. He shifted his revolver. He aimed it, not at the cowboy, not at the boy, at the burning cabin. The Apache woman gasped, "No, I'm inside." "I see no witnesses," the man growled. The cowboy roared, "Don't!" The man fired. The bullet slammed into the weakened beam. The cabin's roof collapsed inward with a violent crash, sparks flaring like angry stars. Smoke billowed outward. The Apache woman screamed as the fire burst around her, cutting off the doorway. The cowboy sprinted forward. The fine coat man shouted, "Let her burn." The boy cried out, "She'll die." The hunter steadied his rifle. "Someone should stop him." The cowboy yelled back, "Then help me." But the hunter didn't move. Instead, his cold eyes shifted, not to the cowboy, not to the woman, but toward the trail behind them. "Too late," the hunter murmured. A new set of hooves thundered in the distance. Riders, fast, many. The fine coat man grinned in sudden triumph. "My reinforcements." The cowboy froze. The boy clutched his sleeve. The Apache woman coughed through rising smoke. The hunter whispered, "Those aren't his reinforcements." The ground trembled before the sound reached them. Hooves, many, fast. A rumble rising through the soaked earth like an approaching storm given flesh and weight. The cowboy's heart kicked hard. The fine coat man lifted his chin, smug. Finally, order restored. The hunter shook his head slowly. "No, not your men." The boy tugged the cowboy's sleeve. "Who are they?" "Not sure," the cowboy muttered. "But they're riding hard." Inside the collapsing cabin, the Apache woman coughed through rising smoke. "What's coming?" "Riders!" the cowboy shouted. "Hold tight!" Outside, the torchbearer groaned in the mud. "More fools chasing her!" The fine coat man barked. "They're mine. Stay calm." But the cowboy saw the man's eyes, narrowed, uncertain, calculating. The hunter stepped forward, rifle lowered but ready. "You didn't call them." "I did," the fine coat man insisted. "I signaled days ago." The hunter smirked. "No one answers lies." Thunder cracked overhead, but the hooves were louder now, closer, pounding down the ridge trail in an uneven rhythm that matched urgency, not order. The cowboy shouted, "Boy, stay behind me." "Yes, sir," the fine coat man snapped. "He's not your responsibility." "He is now," the cowboy replied. The riders burst into view, dark forms against the lightning flash. They streamed down the slope like a broken wave, mud flying beneath their hooves. Some wore torn coats, some carried rifles low. None bore the gleam of federal brass. The fine coat man's voice cracked. Those aren't my men," the fourth rider cursed. "We're outnumbered," the torchbearer whimpered. "I didn't sign up for this," the hunter said quietly. "I know who they are." "Who?" the cowboy asked. "Her tribe," the hunter replied. "Not warriors, survivors." The Apache woman heard it from inside the smoke-filled cabin. "They found me," she whispered. The cowboy yelled toward the window. "They're coming fast." "But why?" she coughed. The hunter answered coldly, "To protect the truth you carry." The fine coat man panicked. "They'll kill me." "Maybe," the hunter said. "Maybe they'll watch you die slow." Lightning revealed the approaching riders, faces painted with ash, clothing soaked, weapons wrapped in hide against the rain. Their horses moved with a unified precision born from desperation, not training. They weren't here for war. They were here for justice. The cowboy stepped forward. "We can end this without blood." "No," the hunter said. "Blood already chose." The fine coat man shrieked, "We need positions!" But his riders backed away, fear overtaking duty. The boy whispered, "She trusted them once." "She can trust again," the cowboy said. The cabin crackled violently as more burning roof timber fell inward. The Apache woman coughed hard. "Cowboy, I can't see." "I'm coming," he shouted. The fine coat man blocked him. "You go in, I shoot." "Move," the cowboy growled. "No," the man barked. "She stays inside." The hunter intervened. "He won't shoot. He's shaking." "I'm not shaking," the fine coat man sputtered. The boy pointed. "Your hand is—" The man looked down. His revolver trembled like a rattler's tail. The cowboy stepped in closer. "This ends with truth." "It ends with control," the fine coat man yelled. The hunter shook his head. "You lost control the moment she lived." The riders descended into the clearing with a howl that blended wind and grief. They circled like a living wall around the cabin and yard. The fine coat man screamed, "Stand down! I command it!" No one obeyed. One rider dismounted slowly, deliberately, approaching the collapsing cabin. He held a blanket over his arm and a coil of rope, not for tying, but for rescue. The cowboy called softly, "They aim to save her." "Or take her," the fine coat man hissed. The hunter replied, "No, they take truth. Truth hurts liars." The boy whispered, "Should we help them?" "We should help her," the cowboy said. He sprinted toward the burning doorway. The fine coat man tried to aim again, but the hunter raised his rifle, blocking the angle. "You fire," the hunter said. "I remove your hand." "You wouldn't dare," the man spat. The hunter leaned close. "You don't know what I dare." The boy pulled at the cowboy's coat. "Be careful." "I'll get her," the cowboy said. "Stay back." He wrapped his jacket sleeve over his face and kicked at the doorframe. Smoke rushed out, thick and angry. Heat slapped at his skin like a warning. Inside, the Apache woman lay low, reaching blindly through ash. "I can't breathe. I'm here," the cowboy called. She coughed. "Roof falling. Move toward my voice," he said. "I can't see. Crawl. Now." She followed his voice, dragging herself toward the faint shape of light through swirling smoke. Outside, the riders chanted something low and rhythmic, a call for strength, for endurance, for spirits to guide. The fine coat man panicked. "They want the papers." "No," the hunter said. "They want justice." "Same thing," the man yelled. The cowboy reached inside. "Give me your hand." She reached out, blind through the smoke. He grabbed her wrist. "Got you," she gasped. "The papers. I'll get those after," he said. "No," she coughed. "They're moving." "What?" he asked. "The hearth," she whispered weakly. "Someone's inside the cabin with me." The cowboy froze. "What did you say?" She trembled hard. "I heard boots. Behind the stones." He pulled her halfway through the doorway. Then a shadow rose behind her in the smoke. A man's silhouette. Not the hunter. Not the torchbearer. Not a rider. Not federal. Someone else. Someone already inside. A deep voice growled behind her. "Give me the documents, or she dies first." The cowboy froze. A shadow towered behind the Apache woman, half-formed through swirling smoke, boots braced wide, breath steady, too steady for someone caught inside a burning cabin. The cowboy yanked her toward him, but the shadow jerked her back. Her rough voice growled, "Documents, now." The cowboy lifted his rifle. "Let her go." "No," the man snarled. "She pays first." Outside, the riders tightened their circle. The fine coat man barked, "Who's inside? Identify yourself." The voice in the smoke ignored him. The hunter stepped forward, frowning. There were 5 tracks earlier. The cowboy shouted, "Who are you?" The shadow answered, "The one who keeps secrets buried." The Apache woman cried out, "He followed us. He was there before the trap." The cowboy's blood ran cold. "You carried orders too." "I carried truth," the man said. "Then I broke it." The woman trembled, choking on smoke. "You burned the camp." The man tightened his grip. "They were traitors." "No," she coughed. "How you were paid?" He yanked her harder. "Paid to protect the Union." "Paid to kill," she whispered. Outside, riders dismounted with low, angry murmurs. Rain plastered their hair and paint to their faces. The fine coat man screamed at them, "Stay back! Federal business!" They didn't move. The cowboy took one step into the doorway. "Let her breathe." "She talks too much," the man growled. "She dies unless I get the documents." "They're ash," the cowboy lied. "No," the man said. "She hid them." The woman gasped. He watched me." The cowboy's jaw clenched. "You stalked her." "For days," the man said, "and you ruined my work." The hunter raised his rifle. "I see your shape. I can drop you." The man barked a laugh. "Shoot, and she burns with me." A glowing beam shifted above them. The cabin groaned dangerously. The cowboy yelled, "You want the papers? Step out here." "No," the man said. "They leave with me." "You can't escape," the cowboy warned. The man tightened his grip around her throat. "I already have." The woman struggled for air. "Don't give them." The cowboy took another step, ignoring the searing heat. "Take me instead." The man stiffened. "What?" "Take me," the cowboy repeated. "Let her go." The hunters outside murmured in disbelief. The woman whispered, "No, don't." The man inside snarled, "You're not valuable." "Try me," the cowboy said. "You want silence. I can give silence." The woman choked out, "Don't, please." A burning rafter cracked above them. Flames licked downward. The cowboy pressed on. "She's young, she's innocent." "No one is innocent," the man said. "Only alive or dead." The cowboy said quietly, "You kill her. You bury yourself." The man didn't answer. The hunter called from outside, "He's thinking, push him." The cowboy continued, You take me, you walk out clean. You take her, these riders rip you apart. The riders growled agreement. Thunder shook the valley. The man inside hissed, "Step back." "No," the cowboy said. "Step back," the man roared. The cabin floor shuddered beneath them. "No," the cowboy repeated. The man's breathing quickened. "You won't survive this." "Maybe not," the cowboy said. "But she will," the boy shouted from outside. "Sir, the roof is falling." The cowboy lunged in. The man jerked the woman sideways. The cowboy missed by inches as another beam crashed between them, sending embers exploding across the floor. Heat blasted upward. The woman screamed. The man cursed. The cowboy stumbled back, coughing. Through the smoke, he saw the man drag her toward the hearth, the exact place she'd hidden the documents. He was going for them. The cowboy shouted, "Rifle ready?" The hunter replied, "Clear shot once he moves." The fine coat man screamed, "Let me handle this." "No," the cowboy said. "You caused this." Inside, the man pried at the hearthstones. Ash poured out. Soot clouded the air. He snarled, "Where are they?" The woman rasped, "Gone!" "Liar!" the man bellowed. The cowboy yelled, "Leave her!" The man spun toward the doorway, dragging her up as a shield. Flames danced behind them. Smoke wrapped around them like a shroud. "I'll take her first," the man growled. "You won't," the cowboy said. "Not today." The man laughed. "You think you're faster?" "No," the cowboy said. "But she is." The woman jerked her elbow backward, quick, sharp, desperate. It hit the man's ribs. He grunted and slipped on the wet ashes. The cowboy charged into the doorway, but the man recovered too fast. He pulled a hidden knife. The hunter shouted, "He's armed!" The man pressed the blade to her throat. "One step, cowboy, one!" The cowboy froze. The woman trembled violently. "Don't! Come!" Rain smashed harder against the collapsing structure. Outside, the riders began chanting again, slow, rhythmic, rising like thunder from the earth. The fine coat man panicked. "They're calling spirits. Stop them," the hunter whispered. "They call courage, something you lost." The boy cried, "Sir!" "Do something." The cowboy's eyes narrowed. He breathed once. Then the man inside the cabin did something no one expected. He pushed the Apache woman toward the doorway, not to free her, but to distract the cowboy. Her body staggered forward, and behind her, the man hurled the burning hearthstone straight toward the cowboy's face. The burning hearthstone flew through the smoke like a blazing comet. The cowboy barely ducked. The stone smashed into the doorway, spraying embers across his coat. The woman collapsed forward, coughing violently. "He's behind me!" The cowboy grabbed her shoulders. "Stay low!" Inside, the man cursed. "You ruined my strike!" The hunter shouted from outside. "Move her clear! I've got a shot!" "No!" the cowboy yelled. "He'll use me as cover!" The cabin groaned, timbers bending, sagging, threatening to collapse. The fine coat man screamed, "They're all insane!" The riders encircled closer, chanting deeper, louder, an echo rolling with the storm. The boy trembled behind them. "Sir, please hurry!" The cowboy pulled the Apache woman toward the doorway, but she pushed back. "No," she rasped. "He's after the papers." "We'll handle him together," the cowboy said. "He won't stop," she whispered. "He must be brought into the open." "Too dangerous," he said. "No," she insisted. "Truth needs light." The man laughed darkly from the hearth. "You preach truth. Truth kills." The cowboy stepped inside again, rifle raised. Flames crawled up the back wall. Smoke hammered the ceiling. Heat slapped his face. "Come out," the cowboy growled. "I walk out with the papers," the man replied, "or no one walks." "You don't have them," the cowboy said. "I will," the man snarled. He lunged for the loose stones, and this time he found the corner of the bundle. The Apache woman gasped. "No!" The man ripped the bundle free. Soot fell like black snow. "I win," he hissed. The cowboy charged. The man swung a burning board. The cowboy dodged, slammed his shoulder into the man's ribs, and the bundle flew from the man's hands, landing on a burning timber. The cloth smoldered. The Apache woman cried out, "The papers!" The man dove for them. The cowboy grabbed his collar. You touch them, you die. They're mine, the man screamed. They bury the past. No, the cowboy said. They show it. Outside, the two other factions stiffened. The riders fell silent. The fine coat man stepped forward. The hunter readied his rifle. Everyone knew the same truth. Whoever seized the papers controlled the future. Inside, the Apache woman crawled forward, reaching. I can save them! No! The cowboy shouted. Stay back. They burn, she cried. Smoke throttled the room. The roof sagged again. The man snarled, Out of my way! He punched the cowboy hard. The cowboy staggered. The man grabbed the half-burned bundle and sprinted toward the back wall. The cowboy lunged after him. You won't escape. I already have, the man roared. He kicked at the wall logs. One gave. A small gap opened to the night. The riders gasped. The fine coat man shrieked, Stop him! The hunter fired. The shot tore through the smokes and hit the bundle, not the man. Papers burst into the air like wounded birds. Ash spiraled around the cabin. The Apache woman screamed, No, no, the truth! But the cowboy saw something. Inked sheets fluttering, but not gone. Some were intact. Some still held power. The man scrambled through the wall gap. The cowboy chased him, leaping over fire. Outside, the riders surged forward. The fine coat man drew his revolver. The hunter advanced, rifle ready. The boy cried, Don't let him leave! The cowboy burst through the broken wall into the rain. The man slipped in the mud, papers scattering around him. He grabbed one sheet. Faded seal, original mark, the real order. This one kills you all, he snarled. The cowboy aimed his rifle. Drop it. No, the man hissed. I erase your proof. He lifted the paper toward the fire behind him. Even wet, the flame would take it if he touched it to the edge. The Apache woman crawled through the broken wall. Don't let him, the cowboy fired. The bullet hit the mud beside the man's boot. A warning, the man spun, furious. You missed! No, the cowboy said. I warned. The hunter moved closer. End him, the fine coat man shouted. Bring the paper to me. The riders drew their bows and rifles. Their leader stepped forward, hand raised. A signal of judgment, not mercy. The man clutched the paper tighter. One touch of fire, and the truth dies. Then don't touch it, the cowboy growled. The man grinned. Try stopping me. He lowered the edge toward an ember resting in the mud. The cowboy lunged. The man slashed with his knife. The cowboy caught the wrist, twisted hard. The knife fell, but the paper kept moving toward the ember. The Apache woman screamed, No! In that instant, the boy dove forward, small, fast. Terrified, he slammed into the man's arm. The ember splattered out. The paper fell, unburned. The man roared and backhanded the boy, who fell into the mud with a cry. You little rat! The cowboy tackled the man. Both slid across soaked dirt. The paper lay between them, the only unburned proof left. The cowboy shouted, Grab it! The Apache woman crawled fast and snatched it from the ground, holding it tight to her chest. The riders cheered softly. The hunter nodded once. The fine coat man's face turned white. The cowboy pinned the man's arm. It's over. No, the man growled. You don't understand. He leaned up, lips twisted, eyes burning with something beyond rage. The truth you saved. He grinned. Isn't the only truth. The cowboy froze. What? There's another order, the man hissed. Older, deadlier. The Apache woman whispered. What order? The fine coat man stepped back in fear. The hunter's expression tightened. The man spat blood, grinning wider. It names the real traitor, and he's standing right behind you. The cowboy turned. Every rider raised a weapon. The boy gasped. The Apache woman's hands shook around the remaining paper. Behind the cowboy, 3 men stood, but only one of them slowly reached for his coat pocket. The hunter. The cowboy stared as the hunter's hand slid slowly into his coat. Not rushed, not nervous. Calm. Too calm. The Apache woman held the rescued paper close. Her voice trembled. Is he the traitor? The hunter didn't answer. The fine coat man shouted, Arrest him! He's the danger! The riders didn't move. The cowboy lifted his rifle. You stop right there, the hunter paused. Or what? You draw wrong, the cowboy said. I end it. Rain drummed harder. Flames dimmed behind them. The boy crawled behind the cowboy, shaking. The hunter's gaze drifted to the Apache woman. You think that paper frees you? It reveals truth, she whispered. No, he said softly. It reveals only half. The cowboy barked. Hand out what's in your coat. The hunter sighed, a tired breath. So you don't understand the weight here. Make me, the cowboy said. Very slowly, the hunter withdrew his hand. Not a gun, not a knife. A folded paper, old, torn, edges cracked from weather. The Apache woman stared. That's real. Yes, the hunter said. The first order, the true one. The fine coat man screamed. Lies, all lies. The riders hissed in anger. The cowboy stepped closer. Why hide it? The hunter looked at the ground. Because it names someone you won't touch. Who? The cowboy asked. A man protected by rank, the hunter said. By law, by money. The Apache woman whispered, You carried this. I carried it, he said. I failed to use it. Why bring it now? The cowboy asked. Because she survived, he replied. And the boy survived? The boy swallowed hard. You saved me? The hunter didn't answer. The cowboy pointed at the paper. Read it. The hunter unfolded it with care. Rain dotted the ink, but the letters stayed sharp enough. He spoke. Orders to shift patrol. Orders to abandon camp. Orders to frame the tribe. The riders growled. The Apache woman whispered, Who signed it? The hunter hesitated. The cowboy repeated, Who signed it? The hunter's voice dropped low. The fine coat man. The clearing erupted. Shouts, curses, weapons drawn. The fine coat man shrieked, Forgery! This is all forgery. The cowboy shook his head. Too old to forge now. The hunter nodded. Paper shows truth. Ink shows guilt. The fine coat man raised his revolver, but the cowboy was faster. The cowboy shot once, clean, sharp. The man's weapon spun into the mud. His knees buckled. He fell, clutching his shoulder. The man screamed, You can't judge me! The riders stepped forward. We already have, one said. The cowboy lowered his rifle. How you answer for your orders? No, the man cried. I protected the territory. You protected yourself, the Apache woman whispered. The boy stepped beside her. I saw you lie. I saw everything. The fine coat man's face twisted. You're all fools? The riders didn't reply. They seized him and dragged him toward the ridge, where judgment waited with the storm. The torchbearer crawled backward, terrified. I didn't know. The cowboy looked at him. You tried to burn her alive. The Apache woman shook her head. Let him crawl. He's already defeated. The riders agreed and pushed him away. He limped into the night. Broken, only the hunter remained. He held both papers, the shredded one and the original. The Apache woman asked quietly, Why come back? He looked at her with tired eyes. Because I helped break your world. I wished to mend a peace. The cowboy said, You killed men. Yes, the hunter replied. And I answer for that? He dropped his rifle. Kneeling in the mud, he placed both documents at the cowboy's feet. Truth belongs to you now, he said. The riders murmured approval. The cowboy helped the Apache woman to her feet. You safe? She nodded weakly. Finally. The hunter lowered his head. I am ready for judgment. The Apache woman stepped forward. Judgment is not mine. It is theirs, he said, nodding to her people. She shook her head. They lost enough blood. Let truth judge, not me. The cowboy said, You ride away, never return. The hunter stood slowly. You spare me. No, the cowboy said. I release you. What fate finds you later ain't mine. The hunter looked relieved and hollow. He walked into the rain, vanishing along the ridge. The riders bowed their heads to the Apache woman. You rose from fire, one said. You carry our truth now. She held the unburned order tight. We all survived fire. The cowboy looked at her gently. You ready to leave this place? She nodded. Yes, with truth beside me. The boy tugged her sleeve. And with us? She smiled softly. Yes, with us. The cowboy turned toward the trail, the storm easing overhead. Let's go, he said. And with the fire dying behind them, the riders leading the way, the woman clutching truth she nearly died to protect, and the cowboy walking steady beside her, the long night finally broke. If you enjoyed this powerful frontier story, filled with danger, justice, and the courage to stand against corruption, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who loves dramatic Western tales. Your support helps us bring more gripping stories like this to life. Want to see more Apache stories, more lone cowboy showdowns, and more frontier justice battles? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. Every like, share, and comment tells us you want this series to continue. Join the journey. Your voice keeps these stories alive.